Do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
And one of the major perks of that is that everyone else is in an office right now, whereas I'm out in the rain with Mr. Barker's. However, the reason I'm able to do this today and not be in the office is because I have no work, because there are no jobs on right now. So, swings and roundabouts. But of course, the counter-argument to this is the quickest way to destroy a passion is to monetize it. All of a sudden, all that free-reign creativity I should be having is governed by somebody else, and really, it's just a job. It's no different. But here's where I think you're missing a trick.
I should caveat this whole thing with, I was in the fortunate position to come from nothing. And because of that, there were no expectations placed upon me. All I had to do was go out there and live. I didn't have to get a certain career, a certain degree. None of that was pushed upon me. So really, whatever I did was acceptable. There was no pressure for me to be a doctor, a lawyer, or anything like that. I just had to do whatever it was I had to do. Just make it through life. That's what my family's like. And because of that, from a very young age, I decided I was never going to have a job. Here's why. I saw my dad come home from work. He'd sit down, have a beer, watch TV, go to bed, wake up at 5 a.m, do it again. He just did this all day on a conveyor belt, pulling a thing down. It looked hellish to me. I'd be more happy living on below minimum wage than I would working in a job like that, personally. Now, I did go away and I did get a degree and a master's, and of course, because of that, every now and again, I get a headhunter contact me to try and pull me back into my old life, where they offer me the job. And the thing is, your average job is 40 hours a week. Add in commuting, that's probably 50 hours a week. For 50 hours of my time per week, they can't pay me enough money to go in. They just can't. I would need... They can't. It's not an option. There's not enough money to motivate me to give you 50 hours of my week doing something I don't want to do. It's not on the cards. I'd much rather be poor with money but rich with time. Now, of course, this also comes with another caveat. In more recent parts of my life, I've had children. And because of that, today, on this day, if somebody said photography is no longer working, I'd be out there in the factory grinding for them. But it wouldn't be for me. It'd be for them. I don't want a job, but they need stability. So there is that to consider as well. So here's how I see it. I'm going to spend my life in the pursuit of my art. Now, there's problems with that as well. In order for me to pursue my art, I have to make money. In order for me to make money, I have to slightly sell my soul to the devil. But I'm okay with that because I do it 4 times a year. 4 times a year, I do a job I don't want to do to bring in the money so I can spend the rest of the time chilling out with my dog who's vanished off the sofa somehow and just, live my best life. Now, the problem with getting into this world is, and I was quite lucky in that I got into it, like I said before, without any financial motivation. In order to be financially successful as a photographer, as a full-time job, you need to not care about finances. Listen, if you want to get to your work to a point where it's good enough to make the decent money, you've actually got to do something first. And that's create some art that other people they can connect to. I spent years trying to be the commercial photographer, and it wasn't until I had that time before COVID where I reinvented myself and just created work for me. That was really the tipping point where I went from having a decent living to a really good living. And you're probably going, well, Scott, you said you don't care about money. Why are you saying it's a really good living? Well, because children, your family, it's great when I'm young saying, well, I don't care about money, I work for free, and I don't care about this, that, and the other, I just want to be happy. But when you become a grown-up, life gets in the way. Things happen. You can't just be going, oh, me, me, me. You've got to start to look at the bigger picture and those around you and how your decisions affect them. Now, because of that, I'm now able to continue doing photography, but it's only because I didn't worry about the money. If I'd have worried about the money from day one, I wouldn't be in this position today. Now, at this point, you're probably and hopefully thinking, well, thanks, Scott. So far, you've given me loads and loads of conflicting advice. Does turning your passion into a career ruin your passion? Does monetizing your hobby ruin it? Here is the bottom line. If I'm going to have to spend 50 hours a week doing something I don't want to do anyway, I'd rather take those tricky times in photography, which are what? Once a month, there might be something you don't want to deal with or a client who's a bit of a pain, I'd rather stomach that than go to work for 50 hours a week. And I think we can both agree that this is a pretty cool career to have, and we enjoy it. But to give you a more useful answer, at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is, one, can you afford to be selfish? And when I started out, I could afford to be selfish. And the reason I'm making this video is because today I can't afford to be selfish. Today, being selfish is not an option because I have dependents. But can you afford to be selfish? And if you can, if it's just you it's going to affect, follow that passion and follow that dream. Absolutely. It is far easier to be a success when you don't have all the burdens of life on you. When you try and make money from photography, it actually makes it quite difficult to do so. If you go and shoot a body of work going, yeah, I'm going to shoot a body of work that's going to pay me really well, you're going to shoot the most generic, boring body of work I've ever seen, and no one's ever going to pay you for it. If you don't have a care in the world and you go and create art for the sake of art, I guarantee you it will pay off if you're talented. Can't guarantee the talent, but I can guarantee that if you are talented, it will pay off. I can't imagine a life where I didn't take this path. However, if I was sat here in poverty today with children, I would leave this world to go and do a job. I wouldn't be able to justify their suffering to myself. I don't mind if I eat beans on toast every day for the next decade. They don't deserve that. So it's a real difficult one, and you've just really got to weigh up the pros and cons of, do you have people relying on you or not, and can you take the risk? But if you're thinking, well, I don't want it to ruin my passion, professional photography has only made my passion stronger. Being a professional at this, doing it full time, has made my life. My life is so... Oh, door. If I had the choice of spending all of my working life doing my passion, or coming home at 6, 7 p.m, or coming home at 6 or 7 p.m, and just being exhausted, and then, you're probably going to go online to read about your passion because I'm broken at 7 p.m. I'm done for the day. I'm absolutely wiped out now. Sure, when I was 18, 19, I could probably have done it, but not in my 40s. Just wanted to give you some food for thought, though. I just thought I'd put this out there as a bit of a,